The number one biggest risk to AI and technology is not China, it's not Russia, it's not something up in space, it's right in your backyard. And I'm going to talk about that today. My name is David Quintiri, and what I do here is I take the complicated, I make it simple. I take the hocus pocus and I break it all down. If you look at what's been happening over here in the AI and tech world, you can see that there's so much money going into it, but something's there as a linchpin that can be pulled, and we need to understand that. And I'm going to make that very clear. There are dangers that are present right now that could not only impact prices of stocks, but actually the livelihoods that we have, simply because we've become so reliant on these systems and the way that they've been built. So I'm going to show you what the problem is, but I'm also going to show you what's happening in order to hopefully prevent any crisis. Let me show you. Let's get into it right here. First things first, I thought it was funny that you've got a Barron's article saying Nvidia slumps on new China chip rules, quote, buy the dip. I didn't see a dip, really, maybe a sneeze. But this is what we're seeing. AI, all the articles are pushing it. ChatGPT is in your face. You can see it all around you. AI is everywhere, and you can just go to these articles online and realize it's all written by AI. In fact, I saw one of the news websites that actually has a section at the bottom that says that they use artificial intelligence, but they promise it's only a little bit. Okay, here we go. That's what I want to start with, and you see how it goes deeper. India and the US-China chip wars. New Delhi has positioned itself as a player in the critical semiconductor technology field with a hugely significant partnership with the US. Yes, they're saying that they had a delayed start of decades, but they're trying to get on it. We have seen companies like Apple that have shifted their manufacturing, some of their manufacturing, to India and Vietnam. They want to diversify because they were so reliant on China. We know the story. This is really key right now because you can see that this is spreading risk, and that's what you, the individual, want to do. It's also going for basically anything else that you would consider critical. You don't want to rely on one country for one thing. What did we find out very rapidly inside of 2020? It's that when toilet paper isn't coming around, well, who's manufacturing it? We'd never even thought of that before. What about diapers and baby formula and all these things that kept coming up in the news articles? Also, one you may not be aware of is the hand sanitizer, not just the sanitizer itself, but the bottles. So I know somebody who was actually selling this hand sanitizer during this period of 2020, obviously a hot demand. And you could see what he had to deal with in that they didn't have any small bottles. So those like travel size, put them in your bag or whatever type of bottles of hand sanitizer, they were unavailable. So you had to get these huge like gallon buckets of hand sanitizer, and that was it. You could not purchase small bottles. So just something as simple as that, a plastic bottle. Have you ever heard of a shortage? No, it's because we started relying on only China to produce the plastics. They've got the process, they make it cheapest, and even in factoring in the shipping, it made a lot of sense. Try to get that done in the United States. Not going to happen. Well, that's what happens when you shift over your manufacturing overseas. Big problem. Now, people are getting wise to this, and the semiconductors are front and center. Pay attention to what's happening, and you're going to see some major developments. I've got more for you. Check it out. Here we have it. Japan wades into the chip wars. A state-backed funds offer the top chip material maker JSR signals a stronger industrial policy approach to the country that was once the world's dominant chip maker. So you can see obviously Taiwan right now, they make a lot of the chips. That's important. And TSMC is the one that's really front and center in all of this. I think it's interesting as well because you're going to have the government actually giving money or taxpayer dollars over to these companies. Some are going to benefit. That's what I want to make very clear. Look for the government contracts. Look for the deals that are happening. Those companies, they're going to benefit. Keep your ears open. I will discuss anything prominent here on this channel. Hit that subscribe and I'll bring it to you. You can look that up yourself if you can find it. and know what the government grants are doing, where the new laws are changing. Laws and regulations are the things you should be paying attention to because that's where the money is made, but also knowing that information gets you ahead of the game. You'll be ahead of your peers, you'll be ahead of your coworkers, you're going to be ahead simply by staying informed. That's what this is all about here at the Money GPS. IBM throws weight behind Japan chip startup as it sees it as vital. Rapidus is Japan's effort to build domestic version of TSMC. Big stuff. We're talking about billions upon billions of dollars being invested here. And of course, if this happens, this is positive. We want to see diversification. You still might buy from Taiwan, you still might buy from China, but of course, we want that diversification. China restricts exports of chip-making metals in clash with the US. Uh-oh, here we go. Beijing will limit gallium and germanium exports on August 1st. Both metals are indispensable for producing some chips. I think it's really important to note what's going on here. The world is so globalized today, rare earth metals, all these different things, that you can't just say, okay, we're not going to do that anymore and you're okay. What happened with we're going to cut off Russia. Okay. Oh, by the way, we relied heavily on Russia's energy. Oops. And the prices shot through the roof. A lot of speculation around that anyway, but that's what happened. The same thing with this, the tariff war. Okay, we're going to put tariffs on all of Chinese products. What happens? They start saying, okay, we're going to charge our customers 25% more as a result. Not good. This isn't good. That's not the way it needs to be dealt with. There should be more onshore manufacturing, number one. And number two is you shouldn't do all your manufacturing in one place. That is extremely risky. Extremely risky, but all of the big businesses do that. Why? I get it. They're comfortable. They've got the whole logistics set up and planned, but not when there's a war, whether that's economic, a currency war, or a hot war. Do you want to be involved in that? Of course not. We got to diversify our risk, and we do that with our investments, but we also do that with our income sources. Very important stuff. I talk about this very regularly, especially in recent times. Chip war. Can reshoring save the world's most vulnerable supply chain? Why the US-made chips could accelerate reshoring in all industries. Good stuff, actually. And the semiconductors, like I said, that's really the main thing. That's the number one thing because we're so reliant on them. They're in everything. They're in my head. They're in this, microphone. They're in, all this technology I got facing me right now. I mean, it's just, we know that. We know that that's the case. And whether we like it or not, that's how it is. And now we're going towards a more digital world in that, the cashless society's coming. They're going for it. You've got to be the one to, deal with it, whether you like it or not. If your employer is paying you in some sort of CBDC, do you want to get paid? What about when they put everybody on a UBI because robots and automation are taking jobs? Oh, no worries. You can get your UBI. You got to sign up to the CBDC. So these are the systems we got to play around. That's why I talk about having diversification in another system and being able to, move money where you need to, when you need to, by diversifying your risk out. And that's like not, okay, I'm just going to keep my money in this one bank. New opportunities are being formed. You want to have income outside of where you are today. I will be talking more about that on my Discord, where I can share information that, sometimes it's probably not the best place to put it on this platform. Discord link down in the description. I hope that you'll join me there. We got, I think, over 500 people now, so thank you for that. And if you're not aware what Discord is, definitely check it out. Okay, click my link. It's totally free. The goal is to handicap China's AI progress in the name of national security. They want to block the access in the semiconductors, block access for this. I think it's key to see what's happening. Netherlands, Japan, and the US are all doing it. They're all taking part. They're saying, China, you can only get to this level, not to this level of technology. We're going to stop you right here so that we can squash you down. It's a war, people. This is a war. It's an economic war. It's a currency war. and it's taking place right now. We are in the middle of it. We're not going to sit down. We're not going to take it. We're not going to play the victim. We don't do that anymore. If we did, we got to be bold. We got to be brave, and we got to just honor what we see in front of us. This is the truth. It's happening. And what are we going to do about it? The number one thing is we got to be informed. The number two thing is that we got to be prepared, and we got to prepare in many different ways. As I said, with our income sources, and of course, where we are keeping our money. Diversify out. Do not rely on a system that you, quite frankly, cannot trust. Real quick stuff here. Inflection AI raises $1.3 billion from Reid Hoffman, Bill Gates, and Nvidia. These are the companies, these are the individuals, and watch that money flow so you can be a better investor. I think that's pretty clear. AI, anything with the word AI suddenly is very attractive. What changes that though? Do you know? Well, we'll talk about that momentarily. AI video startup Runway raises $141 million from Google and Nvidia. So Nvidia is taking all those stock gains, and they are doing this, what I believe is a good idea, to reinvest that capital, research and development, of course. Artificial intelligence companies hunt for San Francisco offices. So funny enough, San Francisco offices, like the worst possible thing right now. So many of them are empty. They're in the worst position, but now AI might come to the rescue even in the physical world, which I think is hilarious. In this way, Salesforce to invest $4 billion in the UK on AI innovation. So I'm just trying to show you, globally, we are watching AI taking over, and it is just dominating, and billions of dollars are being spent right now. Governments race to regulate AI tools. That's where we land. I think it's the real big key right now, that tech and AI are essentially, as of now, unregulated. Very, very, very few regulations. Oh yeah, we get that little box that pops up on the bottom of our screen. Do you accept the cookies? Is that what we got? Is that the regulation? That's just an annoying thing. They're going in, they're taking all the information anyway. Why do I need to even accept the cookies? So the point here is that when we look at these things, we have to understand what has stood in the way of tech and AI. Right now, nothing. We are looking at this, as I've explained, the chip war and so on, the back and forth between China and the US. If China says no more manufacturing, we have got a big problem. Okay, they're not going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that, obviously, but that's a potential. We got to watch out for that. But regulations are in your own backyard. This is happening right now, so you've got to pay attention to it. You've heard about the tech regulations. You've heard about, these things that have happened. They're not there yet, but watch, because that significantly hampers the growth, and that is the biggest concern that I see. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's happening tomorrow or what have you, but watch carefully for any regulation on AI and tech, because that affects the valuations of these companies and quite frankly, what they're capable of doing. I don't think they're going to hamper their growth necessarily, but if it means stopping China from doing something, maybe they will. Maybe they'll stop, and maybe they'll slow down significantly. Maybe they'll say it's a little too dangerous with what AI can do, so we're going to kind of nip it in the bud. I'm interested to see what you have to think. Put them in the comments below. Let's talk about that. Okay, and I wanted to show this as well. Quantum computers could slash the energy use of cryptocurrencies. This is something that there's been a lot of talk about this, quantum computing and so on. And there's even discussion that quantum computing would make Bitcoin mining, like suddenly it could just mine instantly and so on. And that would be detrimental to, the whole process of like it's actually becoming more difficult over time to mine cryptocurrency. Suddenly they can mine it all. That changes the game. But I just want to show you this as well. There's a lot changing inside of these fields, really rapidly accelerating, and the regulation side could be what's there to not necessarily stop it, but at least stunt the growth. So I, of course, want you to know that you can learn AI for free. Okay, you can learn a lot of this stuff, robotics, automation, AI, totally for free. And there's a website that I talk about in this video. It's a very, very short video. It's literally a short that you can check out. And I notice I get views consistently on this one, which is like one of my only videos that does that. Click this video, check this video out, and you'll see. Click it.